What's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and what a difference a week makes. Yes! Okay, had to get that out. Obviously, very, very excited. Champions of the FA Cup. Thank goodness we're ending this season with something because, good lord, if we had lost this one, especially after how the game went, I don't think I could have stood it. I think I probably would have just lost my mind and just had to go be put up in some mental hospital somewhere because that's how crazy this season would have made me. So first of all, let's talk about the obvious talking points. The penalty. There are a couple penalties that didn't get called. First of all, the penalty on Jones. Yes, it was a penalty. Watching the replays, didn't get the ball at all. Slid in, tried to reach for it. And yes, it was also a yellow card because there's that double jeopardy rule where because he's making a play on the ball, even though he's the last defender and it's inside the box, they do have that rule where it's like, okay, well, he's making a genuine attempt for the ball. So it's not like he just dragged him down trying to keep him from scoring. He actually tried to win it. So I agree with the yellow card. I agree with the penalty. Overall, thought that was a good call. A couple others. There was the one where Matic kind of pulled Bakayoko back a little bit. In my opinion, maybe could have been. It looked like the contact may have started outside the box, so maybe even a foul outside. But to not call anything there was just, I don't know. I feel like you're just sort of saying, "Oh no, that's okay. You can pull back on him and you can get your legs tangled up." And I don't know. It's just watching it again and again. I mean, first of all, he's got his arms around him. That's a foul. Also, I mean, he pretty much bumbles into his back and causes him to lose his footing, and like you could see their legs getting all tangled up. I mean, it's a foul. Now, whether or not it's inside or outside the box, that's an entirely different matter, but to not call it a foul at all, in my opinion, was a mistake. There was another possible penalty. Sanchez went down in the box. Maybe on the first one there was a little bit of a tug back from Moses, but the fact of the matter is he fought through that one and then flicked it up and then dove after that whenever Spilicueta came in. So he might have had a case if the tug from Moses had put him off a little bit more, or if he allowed himself to be pulled back a little bit more. But as far as the after effect, there wasn't much there from Spilicueta. And then, of course, there's the handball, which was looked at by the VAR and was decided to not be a penalty. And in my opinion, there's got to be a fine line when it comes to handballs, because we've seen several times where in the box it hits somebody's hand, everybody screamed for handball, and sometimes it's a question of, okay, well, is it or is it not? And even in this case, the VAR, not sure. They kind of just went off of, okay, he didn't call it in the game, he saw it, all right, we'll keep playing. But in my opinion, this one is on that fine line where it's very close, so it's hard to say, oh, he had plenty of time to move his hand out of the way. But looking at the replays, there is kind of a swinging his arm motion towards the ball. It's very minuscule, but it looks like he kind of put his arm out there. Not to balance himself, because his arm's already out for balance. It was kind of out there a little bit more. And so, obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I'm wanting it to be a penalty just to sort of get us a second goal and put us even further ahead. But at the same time, I can see where a lot of people would say, oh, but that's too close. And so that's where I think, as far as VAR is concerned, it's still not a perfect system. There are still going to be cases where people are going to argue about it. And I know they put it in place to sort of try to root out a lot of those arguments, but I think the important thing for VAR is to look at the obvious mistakes. The ones where nobody saw it. For instance, Sanchez's called back goal. If they had looked back on that, if they had given the goal and looked back on it, they would have said, oh, well, he was offsides. The AR just was in the wrong line. But he was actually in the right line, which is actually pretty impressive that he got that call right. But I think that is what VAR should be for. It shouldn't be for, oh, is that a penalty? He chipped it up, it hit his arm, he kind of moved his arm toward it a little bit. I don't think that's what VAR is for. I think VAR should be there to catch the calls that nobody sees. Something happens off the ball, none of the referees see it, VAR is there. They see what happens, they talk to the referee, all right, well, you're getting a red card now because of what happened. Instead of nobody saw it, the play goes on, and then the FA comes back 3 days later and is like, oh, yeah, that's a ban, which is what happens now. So I think people need to sort of temper their expectations of VAR. It's not going to root out any sort of arguments because people are still going to be biased on their arguments. People are still going to see that handball. Man U fans are going to see it as, oh, it's too close. Chelsea fans are going to see it as, oh, he moved his arm toward it. That's never going to stop the arguments. But I do think you can start to sort of get the wrong calls, the obvious wrong calls, where the guy is offside. Well, VAR calls it back because he's obviously offside. That's just my personal opinion and my 2 cents on VAR. But anyway, as far as the overall game is concerned, I thought we looked like we were, once again, the more dangerous team, even with less possession. And that's kind of been the story of our season, is that there have been games where we've been dominated as far as possession is concerned. Teams have been keeping possession, kind of passing it around, but then we get the ball, and it's that quick turnover, and we do a very good job of that. However, the finishing hasn't always been there. And once again, that was the case today. We get a penalty. That's how we have to get our goal. And part of it, I think, is down to the formation. I think that going with only 2 up top isolates those 2 in Hazard and Giroud. And having 3 in the midfield kind of forces us to sit back a bit more. I think if you have Pedro or Willian up top with Hazard and Giroud, they have more space. Similar scenario to last season whenever we faced Man U, and everybody was like, oh, Herrera just dominated Hazard, he marked him out of the game. In reality, Hazard just had nobody to play to. So he gets the ball, Herrera's ready for it, and he steps in and wins it. A couple of times that happened today because he doesn't have the options. Hazard, on his game, nobody can man-mark him because if he's got somebody to play to, you can't man-mark him. Ball comes in, you think he's going to turn it, he'll just lay it off. Or if you try to step to the pass and cut that off, then he'll turn and go. So as long as he has options, he's unstoppable. But whenever you put him and another striker up top, and those are your only 2 up top, his options are limited. And Giroud, God bless him, he's a great striker. He is a good player, and I love having him on our team. He's not a fast striker. He's not the type of striker that's going to be able to make all these runs that Hazard is going to be able to play off of. He's the type of striker where you're going to send it up the field to him, he's going to win the possession, and then he's going to lay it off, which, if he has options to, it's great. He can lay it off to Hazard or Willian or Pedro, whoever else is out there. But whenever Hazard's the only option, that means the flick that he's doing, which he did quite a few times, it has to go to that one guy because there's only one option for him. And so that's where I just think this formation doesn't work for Hazard and Giroud. Yes, obviously we got the win. Yes, we've won with this formation with those 2 up top in the past, but I don't think it's our most effective formation. I don't think it's our most dangerous formation. So, in my opinion, that was the one reason why Man U had so much possession, especially in the second half. And another reason is, once again, down to Conte just not making any subs. Fabregas should have been off at about the 65 minute mark when he gave the ball away like 3 times in a row and didn't defend because he was getting tired. At that point, you got to look at that and say, all right, clearly he can't do it anymore. Let's get either Willian or Pedro in. Let's get one of those 2. Willian, if you want to maybe keep them a bit more honest, not let them flood so many guys forward, you go with 3 or kind of have Willian be the back and forth man. Now they have to keep somebody else back because they have to be worried about getting hit on the counter. Pedro is more of you want the player that's going to work back and defend well for an attacking player. Pedro's your guy. So it just depends on what you want to go to. Do you want to be a more counterattacking team or do you want to be solid defensively? Make a change though. Do something. He did not make a sub until the 82nd minute, and even then, he's bringing on Murata for Giroud. Okay, you've changed the striker. What else are you going to do? Because our midfield is still looking dogged and tired. Okay, well, let's bring on Willian. Okay, for Hazard. No. See, no, now you're just stupid. Now you're just making dumb decisions. You're taking off the player that can get it done, the player that can be creative and help us take the attack at least back towards Man U and get some of the pressure off our defense. You're taking him off the field. You do realize how stupid that is, right? No, you don't, because you're still making those same decisions and you've been making them all season long. And that is why, even though we got the win, I'm still frustrated with Conte because I still think he's making poor decisions. I look at this season overall, the same problems that I had today, that honestly we got lucky. how many close chances did they have near the end? If not for the fact that Azpilicueta is one of the best defenders when it comes to blocking shots, they probably would have had 3 or 4. Courtois had to make some great saves. Pogba, Cahill completely lost track of him, and thankfully, because he just shaved off all of his crazy hair, he's a little bit unbalanced and completely missed his header. You look at all these chances, this could have been an entirely different game, but we got lucky today. And the reason that it could have been an entirely different game is the same thing that I've been seeing all season long, with Conte refusing to make the subs until late in the game. And the subs that he's making aren't benefiting us. They're just like-for-like replacements. They're not changing anything. And that's a problem. So, yeah, even though I'm glad we got the win, I'm glad we won the FA Cup, I still think this is the high note that Conte needs to leave on. Okay, you won us the league last season, great. You won us the FA Cup this season, great. Now, let's move him on, because clearly he doesn't have the ability to do it anymore. He doesn't have that same fire to change a game like he did last season. You know, he just wants it to be, okay, these guys are going to be playing, and that's about it. I'll make some changes late on, but that's about it. That's a problem. And it's why we've lost so many games in the last 10, 15 minutes this season. There have been some games where it was close, and then we lose or we draw because of this. So anyway, as far as individual performances are concerned, Courtois had a good game today. Very, very strong, very good saves overall. I thought he played well. And it's not been a great season for him. It's been solid, but there have been games where I've thought to myself, he can do better. I've seen him do better. This was one of his better games. So I'm hoping the momentum carries into the offseason and into next season as well, because we need him to be at his best if we want to be successful. Azpilicueta, like I said, he showed today why he deserves to be one of the best, why he is one of the best defenders in the league. The one-on-one situations that he shut down and didn't let them have space, the amount of times he threw himself in front of shots and blocked shots, the amount of times that he had to go up for headers, even though he's one of the shorter defenders on the field. He just works his butt off so much. I can't help but respect him. He does such a good job back there. I'm so glad that we have him, and I hope we can manage to keep a hold of him. And honestly, it's still kind of a shock to me that he's not considered in the Spain national team. Because just watch him play. He is a good defender, and he's very, very, very hard worker. So, in the middle was Cahill. Overall, he was okay. Didn't really have a whole lot of problems from him. A couple of misplaced passes that were pretty poor. But overall, defensively, he looked okay. I do still have my problems with him. I still do think we have better options than him. However, he does okay from time to time. But like I said, his passes can be misplaced. There was the one corner where, when Pogba had the free header, I'm thinking to myself, okay, who got picked? And then I'm watching as Cahill is standing near him and is looking away from him. And I'm just nobody's on him. You need to get somebody on him now, or you go get on him. But he was just kind of standing there looking, talking to somebody else. So anyway, and then Rudiger showed why he deserved to be playing at Newcastle. I'm not sure why he was off. I'm not sure if it was injury or if exhaustion or what. But my Lord, we needed him against Newcastle. Because, man, he's a beast in defense. He is fast. He's strong. He's good. He's a good defender. He's still got a few hiccups here and there. Sometimes he looks a little bit awkward on his clearances. But overall, defensively, he is a solid defender. So I'm glad, looking forward, we have Azpilicueta, we've got Rudiger. Christensen, obviously, is still a bit younger and has had his naive moments this season, but overall, I think this is a strong group coming through. We still have Zuma, who's young. I think we've got a pretty solid defense for the next few years, hopefully. As far as the wingbacks are concerned, Moses, okay today, not really anything fantastic. I think part of that is down to the fact that they Man U attacks with their fullbacks. And so our wingbacks have to defend as well. You see Moses having to take on Young a lot. You see Alonso having to take on Valencia. So that is part of the reason why they weren't as effective today. However, between the two, Moses did more. And it's not really because he did anything super effective, great game today. He was just okay. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. He did provide us with when we needed it. Alonso's still just the same. You know, just not a whole lot from him. He works hard defensively, I'll give him that, but not a whole lot from him when it comes to the attacking part of it. He loves to cut in when he doesn't have the ball, which means now we have no width, which is a problem. His crosses most of the time are just dumped in, hopeful balls, hoping somebody will get on the end of it. My God, he should have had a goal today. Conte lays it off to him. All you got to do, it's pretty much on your left foot to just curl it towards the far post, and then you let it roll across your body, and then it's on your right foot now, and you just blast it right at De Gea. That should have been a goal, and yet you can't finish. So I don't know. He's not bringing enough for me. He's not doing enough to make me think, okay, we can be comfortable with Alonso. I feel like we need to go get somebody else, because Emerson hasn't really done a whole lot more either. You know, he's been solid, but not great. So I just feel like we need to go get somebody to replace Alonso. As far as Moses is concerned, you know, don't need to replace him, but I do think we need somebody who's going to either challenge him for the spot or, I guess, maybe take over for him in the games where he's not feeling it. Because, I mean, obviously Zappacosta is not an option. He's awful. And then as far as the midfield, the rest of it. So you got Fabregas, Bakayoko, and Conte. Of the three, you can probably guess which one. Conte was the best. Very quietly for most of the game doing his job, and then near the end of it, whenever we needed him to step up and start really taking control, he did. So he's one of those players where when he's doing his job really effectively, you almost don't notice him because he forces them out of the midfield. And honestly, that happened for a majority of the first half. I didn't realize he was in there because they kept having to go wide to Young or Valencia because anytime they went in the middle, Conte was there cutting off lanes. Then in the second half, whenever they started trying to force it down the middle, in steps Conte, and he's just cutting off passes, he's winning balls. He's a fantastic player. Fabregas, I have my issues with him. He's a player that I think in the past has gotten a lot of crap where he doesn't deserve it. You know, I think he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. But today he definitely was deserving of a lot of crap. Defensively, he wasn't really giving us a whole lot. He was kind of jogging around, passing. How many giveaways did he have today? And especially in a moment where Man U was constantly just coming back at us. We need somebody who's going to keep possession, not somebody who's going to give it away every time they touch it. And that was Fabregas today. So, yeah, he needed to come off the field a lot. Well, he needed to come off the field. He didn't even come off, now that I'm thinking about it. So, problem there. Bakayoko had a few more good moments today, but my problem with him is still just defensively. I think he doesn't work hard enough. I still see moments where he's just really lazy, and that's a problem when you're a defensive player. So I hope he can continue to grow and get better, but I still see that laziness. That's not something that's easy to coach out of a player. So, and then the top two, Hazard and Giroud, both of them, like I said, they just got isolated today because they're two players that need options. Because you give them options, they can make it work. You give multiple passing lanes to Hazard, he's going to put defenders on their butts because he is that clever. With Giroud, he's going to beat the defenders in the air, but he needs to flick it on to somebody. And when Hazard's making one run, he flicks it on. It's not on for Hazard, but he's drawn the defender. Now the other person can make the run in, but nobody else is up there. So I hate it for him because both of them were working hard. And you could see the hard work was there. Anytime the ball got up to them, both of them are trying their best. Giroud's holding off challenges from 2 or 3 defenders sometimes, but they don't have the options to work with, and it's a difficult day whenever you play like that. So I blame their below average performance on Conte, not on them. And then as far as the subs, you know, William and Murata both came on with hardly any time left, so you can't really judge them on their performances, but with all that being said, I mean, it's a trophy, and that is one thing that I do think is important for our season. You know, I'm happy to celebrate it. I'm happy that we won. Very excited to have the FA Cup back, but looking forward to next season, which I'll probably do in my next video about Chelsea. I do think there are a lot of issues that either need to be fixed with Conte or need to be just moved on with Conte. So that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know what we can talk about and discuss. All that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys at the season wrap-up. Peace out.